Ghostbusters began as a 40-something page script treatment by Saturday Night Live alumni Dan Aykroyd, who had planned to co-star in it with his friend John Belushi. The story was set in the future where there were many teams of Ghostbusters. Producer-director Ivan Reitman had previously worked with both actors and was impressed with Aykroyd's treatment, but asked him to bring in writer Harold Ramis to tighten up the story. Meanwhile, Columbia Pictures head Frank Price approved a $530 million budget, but only if Reitman could deliver the picture in 1 year. Reitman, Ramis, and Aykroyd worked feverishly for 3 weeks at Martha's Vineyard and finished the script with only 2 months to go before they had to roll film, with final main cast being Bill Murray as Peter Venkman, Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz, Harold Ramis as Egon Spengler, Ernie Hudson as Winston Zeddemore, Sigourney Weaver as Dana Barrett, and Annie Potts as Janine. The geeky accountant part of Louis Tully, eventually taken by Rick Moranis, was originally intended for John Candy, who had trouble imagining himself in the role the way Reitman and the writers intended. Most of Ghostbusters was filmed on studio sets, but to lend the zany film a sense of realism, the production spent 4 weeks on location in New York City. It stopped traffic on Central Park West and thus through Midtown Manhattan for much of an entire day, and visited the New York Public Library, Lincoln Center, Tavern on the Green, and other New York landmarks. The joyous end credit sequence, with hundreds of New York extras cheering the Ghostbusters on, benefits from this extra effort. Principal photography ran from October 1983 through February 1984, with an estimated 75-day shoot. Visual effects artist Richard Edlund's team contributed stunning optical effects, but just as impressive were the floor effects realized by supervisor Chuck Gasper and his crew on the stage, including library cards eerily bursting into the air and the levitation of star Sigourney Weaver, predating sophisticated computer-generated effects technology. A remarkable portion of Ghostbusters was produced by hand. Edlund later noted that Hollywood expected the transition to digital effects to be a slow dissolve, but it turned out to be a hard cut. Weaver, an experienced dramatic actress who was trying her hand at movie comedy for the first time, said she imagined it was like being in a Marx Brothers movie. Years later, Reitman acknowledged that some of his camera setups were inspired by Marx Brothers films. Production designer John DeCure had constructed the famous New York street for Hello Dolly on the Fox backlot, and the elaborate sets for Cleopatra. His rooftop set for Ghostbusters was the largest ever built at Columbia. With its blend of comedy and spookiness, Ghostbusters was an immediate smash hit in the summer of 1984. It brought in over $291 million worldwide at the box office. Ivan Reitman said that he knew it had struck a chord with the public when he saw bootleg Ghostbusters t-shirts being sold on the streets of New York. Ghostbusters received 2 Oscar nominations, one for original song and another for visual effects. To this day, it is still one of the most beloved films from the 80s.